I am pro beating the dead horse about the NBA and what's wrong with it and why it's a problem. I think as more evidence comes out or more stats come out about the ratings, we get more bad insight from more people, and it shows just how clueless we are. And a bunch of people can turn around and say, see, this is the problem. I do want to add on to that. I think it's very funny that a league like Unrivaled, I don't know if y'all been keeping up with Unrivaled, just from like a, not even that you care about women's basketball of this, the accomplishments that Unrivaled has been able to pull off in just the shortest amount of time has been astonishing. First of all, the fact that they marquee this with like this full court setup when it's 3v3, we know 3v3 is half court. But nonetheless, they've been able to pull off big sponsorships, big contracts for people, I'm talking about big time. 35 million. Unrivaled closes on oversubscribed series, an investment round bringing the league's total capital raise to 35 million. They've got some notable names in there, some NBA players and stuff like that. But even outside of that, I mean, they have full blown salaries. Let me pull up the I thought this was crazy. I saw Unrivaled's salary and how it was so much higher than the baseline for WNBA salaries, right? And so the average salary for Unrivaled is $222,000. The average salary for the WNBA, it's 102, 119 now, 119.
Okay,
that is like $100,000 more, right?
Yeah,
it's a whole $100,000 more. That's a lot of money. But so I'm trying to tie this into the NBA conversation. All this stuff can get done in this short amount of time. Unrivaled is not, this is his first season. They haven't even done a season yet. All this has been done, right? And you have to then ask yourself, well, how can a 3v3 league pull this off and the WNBA can't? And you got to look at the parent company and say, yo, there's so much going on with the NBA right now. These are just overall bad decision makers, not just on the WNBA side, but on the NBA side. And I'm so sick of seeing them dumbass people. Guys, you talking bad about the NBA, it just doesn't do anything. It's bringing us down. It's hurting us. It's this, that, and the third. And I agree to the general sentiment. I don't give a fuck. And I might sound like I'm caping. Respectfully, nobody had this grace for the WNBA. Everybody got their shit off at anybody's expense at any given time. Put the mic in front of LeBron James, put the mic in front of Michael Porter Jr., put the mic in front of Shaquille O'Neal, and ask them, why don't you lower the rims? Why don't you wear scantily clad clothing? Why don't you shut the hell up about your contracts? Why don't y'all stop being activists? Why don't y'all do all these other things? All the excuses are done for. Politics, other things are on television at the same time, 3-point shooting. All that shit has been debunked. People, they are going to the extent of now romanticizing an era that had the lowest viewership compared to anybody. And they really don't want to address the point that the shit has been declining since Michael Jordan has left. But that's a whole nother situation. Ooh. I'm tired of the NBA discourse, but I want a dog pile on it. I don't give a fuck.
You know what I have like been annoyed of these last couple of days is the counter take of, y'all just don't like basketball for real, with all this fucking complaining. The nostalgia
demons, they're
basketball's never been as good as it is right now. Y'all just bitching. I think that's the exact problem with the NBA right now is a bunch of people, specifically stans. Like, these are people that will literally dick ride whatever the NBA puts out. Like, the conversation is not about you. It's about the people who don't dick ride whatever the NBA puts out and why they're leaving the sport. The casual. This is about the casual for once. This is about the diehard that did leave and why they left. Like this ain't really about you. And also like to just dismiss those people's criticism to again, you just don't like basketball. Like why are you complaining about the threes? Like that's their reason. Yeah, that's their reason as to why they're not watching anymore. And that's a valid reason. Like these are the people leaving and not watching the sport. The NBA is trying to figure out why people are leaving. And that's the direct answer. But then the response is just, You just don't like hoops rule. Just get the fuck out of here. All right, bro.
I tell people all the time on my channel when it comes to anime that, and it definitely applies to basketball, that me, Bezos, Omar, anybody in this chat that sits there, and we have an NBA topic, NBA title and thumbnail, and we're yapping it up. Yeah, Sage cannot know 5 names on the Rockets, and he be a stupid idiot fuck. Cool. At the end of the day, nobody in here is the casual that we're talking about. The casual we're talking about, we're not implying is stupid, but that nigga goes to work, goes home, lays down, maybe with someone else, and he just sits there. Ah, shit, the Lakers on? Click. That's what we're talking about right now. And anybody that is like Twitter account, Muse account, hypothetical stats, real stats, anything like that, I'm telling y'all, bro, we are the fucking nerds. We are the people that are sometimes too blind to the majority of the world here, especially in the anime community. My God, you niggas think anyway. But like no, we're talking about basketball to stay on topic here. The amount of people that Bezos, you're talking about just not liking the game, also not liking the evolution of the game or anything like that. No, you don't need to bully people for not normalizing true shooting over field goal percentage, gang. I'm not gonna lie. It's not necessarily me wanting to be ooga booga archaic. There's some people that will argue EFG is the one that they prefer to push over true shooting any fucking way. Reality is though, these are the niggas, they weren't even talking about field goal percentage that much, buddy. If it's on the screen, I guess they'll talk about true shooting more. Hence why people are talking about it more. It's getting on the screen. But these niggas, they're sitting back, they turn on the game, and they watch the game. The conversation gets very dishonest when you eliminate the crowd that everyone is trying to talk about to then solve the issue for the crowd that we're trying to talk about. It's just I'm not going to say a flawed argument, but it's definitely it is flawed. It's a flawed argument.
I think it's amazing how even what some of Bezos just said, and that's other people's sentiments, is that 2 years ago, these are the same sentiments about the WNBA now just being echoed in the NBA. That y'all don't like basketball argument was the same thing that was said in the WNBA. The entertainment was the same. Like all these things are, for the most part, the same exact thing for the WNBA. And again, nobody came to its defense for real. They came with more stupidity towards the product. So, hey, I'm here to dunk on it. One day I will take it seriously because I do think that there's some, I think that there's some at least level-headed conversations that can be had. But today, I am here to be ignorant and continue to dogpile. And I'm afraid it's only gonna get worse. I think that's the thing that people like fail to realize.
That's why they're talking about it, because there's nobody has an answer, and the answer, whenever you have an answer, you're met with denial from the insider fans or anything like that. So it's an issue of a league that's kind of like everyone acknowledges is down viewership wise to the global market, but nobody wants to solve it. So
Sage, I'm gonna be
insane to me the conversations we was having, bro. Like I remember talking about ratings in the finals on this pod before, and motherfuckers was like,
yeah, but it's the
care about ratings.
Yeah, and Bezos, who was there right there with you saying, brother, y'all are taking what Bezos is saying and you're acting like he fucking hates the Nuggets or the Heat. All he is saying is, hey, gang, in hindsight, this is just the 2 best teams hooping. But it was more than just the 2 best teams hooping for years. And maybe too old. Maybe we need to wash that out. But boy, oh boy, the numbers are going to be down trying to wash that out.
Bezos' football regular season is coming to a close, and my Falcons aren't doing so hot.
Omar, my Patriots aren't either, but at least we can make some money on Prize Picks, right?
That's the only reason why I'm invested on Sunday night.
Prize Picks is Let's Keep It a Buck's favorite way to play daily fantasy sports. They offer weekly promotions that can lead to very big payouts like Taco Tuesday, so you can win more money and have more money in your pocket. It's pretty easy to make lineups on Prize Picks. They have a bunch of different sports you can choose from. And then within those sports, they have a bunch of different categories. You can go to points, rebounds, assists. And if you really know what you're doing, all you got to do is click more or less on your favorite player, and you can win a bunch of money on Prize Picks. All you got to do is select more, select less. Just make sure they're not on the same team. Put in the amount you're comfortable with and press submit lineup to submit a lineup.
Hopefully some of that bread touches down in my pockets this holiday season. Shouts out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this video. I'm looking at, and we'll move on after this. I'm looking at the Western Conference right now. If the playoffs started today, they would hate The Thunder, who they hate. The Grizzlies are the second seed, who they hate. The Rockets, who they hate, are the third seed. The Mavericks, the boring Denver Nuggets, right?
Yeah, oh my God, Jokic.
The Phoenix Sun, the Timberwolves, and the Golden State Warriors, with the two bubble teams being the two LA teams. And then on the East Coast, the Cavs, who they hate. You got the Celtics, you got the Knicks, you have the Magic, the Bucks, the Heat, the Hawks, and the Pacers. And then the 9th and 10th on that side
Bulls and the Pistons.
is the Bulls and the Pistons.
Mind
What?
Mind you, can I just add, Omar, you're eliminating Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Victor Wembanyama and LaMelo Ball out of playoff contention again. And I'm not saying rig it. I know you guys might. I'm not saying rig it. I'm just saying we don't have to play stupid, bro. Like, niggas want to see Wemby in the offs. We understand it's going to take time. Niggas want to see Paolo drop 40. We understand it's going to take time. But when you have a product that kind of like what Peter Griffin say, it insists on itself. It happens to just insist upon itself. So we can ignore these conversations. Definitely, we can call what I'm saying ignorant to a degree. Perhaps it is, but I think the NBA is definitely in this spot, and there's a reason you guys are like doing the anti-argument shit back, because we all know it's happening, and nobody wants to stop it or have a solution for it.
I also think what Agent said is true. I don't know if y'all saw his clip, but
it's just expensive as fuck. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it would be very helpful.
as fuck, but two, I think the NBA right now is seeing the bad part of being so LeBron reliant for 20 fucking years.
Oh, I was gonna say the bad part.
His retirement is either gonna be at the end of this year or next year, and the NBA is just not prepared marketing wise.
But again, and you know, Agent's a casual too. The it goes back farther. This is the conversation that they were having at some of these player association meetings about the way that they market these teams from an individualistic standpoint. And again, we'll get to KP Super Chat in a second. And again, that is what the NFL and some of these other leagues talked about doing. This is written down. This is what they talked about in the past. Yo, we are going to be team centric. Yeah. And the NBA wasn't patient enough to see that through. They had a little competitor league. They were player specific. They couldn't last. All you had to do was outlast them. And I know that was easier said than done. But the minute that they started to bring over these individual stars and push these guys, the Dr. J's, as soon as they started to do that, that was the detriment, because it was always reliant on one person, full stop. And it just so happened to work. But people are so the coincidence is so powerful. It just so happens to be there. Yeah. But
you got lucky with LeBron.
They forget, even after Michael Jordan, there was a severe drop off because the individual person wasn't there anymore. Regardless of if it was still, regardless of if it was, it never recovered. The NBA has never recovered since Michael Jordan's time. Regardless of if it came back up even slightly, you still have to say yourself, this individual guy. So again, I'm not saying
carried you all through your childhoods. No. I 100% agree with you here, and I'll really go I'll go one final step further, because we do have to move on. But I've compared the NFL a lot this season because I've just adored the product. I think the NFL has done a lot of things right? But here's one thing that any football fan would never say. There is not a player in the NFL right now you just delete them out the league, and the NFL's dead. That's just not true. Patrick Mahomes is my GOAT. I fuck with Mahomes heavy. If Mahomes wasn't there, sure, narratives change, different teams win the bowl, all this other shit. League isn't dead, not even close. We're not having is the league dying? Oh my God. We weren't sitting there. We were sitting there just saying who's going to be the next great quarterback when Brady leaves, but it wasn't like we need another Brady now. The NFL did get lucky in getting Mahomes. I get that, but that's about it. Now with the NBA, niggas have been talking about for 3 straight years what we going to do when KD, Curry, and LeBron say, all right, I'm gone. It's tough. Mind you, as Jeremiah said, Patrick Mahomes ain't even been that fucking good. So that's proof. That's proof that it's literally not going anywhere.
Oh, man. He's on fire.
Shouts out to JKP for the big 50.
Bang, bang, bang. And that's why, because it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
I think the reason the league is suffering because the overall fan base has champion bias. There's marketable stars, they just haven't won it yet. So if you say Ant or Brunson, the overall fan base will say they haven't won yet.
That is
So
interesting. I looked it off at first. That's interesting. Appreciate the 50, by the way. You know, I looked it off at first, but that's very interesting because there's definitely a conversation to be had about, okay, it's not a team league, it's a player league. The NBA needs a face. They haven't lucked into that face because of the parity era and other things like that. But if the right guy won, maybe this conversation doesn't exist. That's interesting.
I think to me, this exactly right here proves why it is a product problem. Is because I was thinking about this the other day. Like, there's probably in every single position at least one player that's probably gonna end up top 5 all time in that position. And the whole super team argument, I think low key it's shaping out that the 2 super teams of this next like 3-4 years is gonna be like the Celtics and the Thunder. So that whole like argument is there. So like the places are there for the NBA to market properly. The only thing missing is probably just, again, the American bias that we've talked about before. And like, you know, the outwardly marketable dude. So if that's your case, that's fine. But from a talent perspective, it is there. It is there. So to me, that's why it is a product problem. It's a marketing problem for the NBA.
Do y'all think this is just an issue of the NBA trying to become a teams league, but this is the effects of trying to switch to a teams league?
I was going to ask y'all the same question. Do you even think that it's possible, if a lot of people think that this is a problem, this is the solution? Superstars are the problem because you have to rely on one. The solution is team-based. Is it even possible to go back?
Yeah,
but you have to go through these dark times. I think that's the thing. You have to go through these dark times. You have to go through the rebuilding process. Because someone even made that argument earlier in the season when we were having this conversation. Like, the NBA just isn't in the market right now to raise its ceiling ratings. Right now, it's trying to raise its floor ratings. So that means making the 11th seed in the standings or the 12th seed more watchable, which I am looking right now. I mean, the 13th seed in the East would be the Hornets.
They're
and then
one of
in
the
the
funnest
West,
teams to watch.
Yeah, and then in the West, the 11-12 seed we're talking about the Spurs and the Kings. So, like, I think the floor of watchability is probably higher than decades past, but the ceiling isn't. So
that's very true.
I am actually going to do some research this week about, I want to see leagues that have gone through transitions, maybe hockey, maybe baseball. I don't really know, but I'm going to do
has
some
with the
research.
offense thing in the quarterback era.
But still, specifically the star-driven to
the team. Okay.
And I'm talking about big swings in ratings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think player movement also fucked up the game.
Yeah, but it's always a fucked up slippery slope when you get to there.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to tell them, hey, you stay on the team that you like, boy, type shit. So.
Yeah. Plus, there has to be a way to combat any of that. I don't know. We'll ultimately see.